and welcome to Faultlines. I'm your host Shahzad Raza. Indian proxies have once again targeted innocent civilians in Balochistan. Recent cold-blooded murder of 9 workers in Job is yet another stark reminder that enemy can go to any extent to destabilize Pakistan. Pakistani armed forces, alongside entire Pakistani nation, fought longest war against terror. And more than once we frustrated enemy design, and that's why out of frustration enemy is now looking for the soft targets everywhere in Pakistan, and Balochistan is their favorite spot. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif today stated that Pakistan gave more than a matching response after Indians' misadventure following false flag Pahalgam operation. So what exactly are Indian designs and what are our preparedness? This is exactly this is the key point I'm going to raise in this program today, and I'm being joined by Dr. Cheema. He's a known defense analyst. Thank you very much, Cheema Saab, for your time. Brigadier retired Nadir Mir Saab is also with us. Thank you so much, Brigadier, for your time as well. Dr. Cheema, to you first. What exactly India is trying to achieve in short or long-term strategy against Pakistan? Because in the past they tried to use proxies time and again, and I mean every time they try to use their proxies, and now we call them as Fitnal Hindustan. But that strategy never worked because of the resilience of the Pakistani nation and preparedness of the Pakistani armed forces. So what's the difference this time? I mean, what exactly India is trying to achieve this time by increasing the wave of terror, acts of terror, and especially in Balochistan? Cheema Saab.
Thank you very much for your time, for having us. The point I think is that this barbaric murder, which we saw, where the 9 individuals lost their lives, and remember they were targeting while checking their identity, and that is something where they want to create a wedge between the people of Pakistan, where they want that the people from Punjab should not go to Balochistan. And I think this time the attack that happened, that was in the Pashtun belt, so giving a message that anyone who comes into the Balochistan, either you are in Baloch area or Pashtun area or in entire Balochistan, you cannot come. So that is one thing. The second thing is, which you are mentioning, that India understand that there is a rising political stability in the country, the rising global political acceptance of Pakistan's global profile increase, not just in the region, but also increased at the global stage. So that is something where they believe that the instability needs to go back into Pakistan. So if you remember, 2 months back, we were being challenged in the conventional military domain, and Pakistan proved its mettle there. And now it was a time that they decided that again the internal fault lines in Pakistan must be exploited, and for this, they thought that yes. Let's empower these Baloch militant organization again and ask them to kill to the Punjabis, so that they can give a message that look, all is not fine in this country. So I think India wants there should be an internal instability in Pakistan. Also, they want to hit the people of Balochistan and the people of Pakistan, that through psychologically hitting them that look, you are not safe anywhere in your country, and also triggering this message to the global investors that look, Balochistan is a place where such kind of killings happen. So India understand that this recent embarrassment or the blunders which the Indian Air Force did, where just yesterday the Indian NSA was saying that there was no damage in the country in this battle from 7th to 10th May. Indian CDS says yes, we lost the jets. Indian defense attaché in Indonesia says yes, we lost the jets. But Indian Defense Secretary and NSA, National Security Advisor, say there is no loss of India in this entire war. So India wants to bring the narrative in Pakistan that look, there is not everything is good in Pakistan, and look, we are a country which can harm Pakistan in a conventional
It's a
military.
simple question, Cheema Saab, but every Pakistani or every sane person in the entire world would like to know that in order to hide its embarrassment in the hand of the Pakistani armed forces, that India resorted to such cheap tactics by killing innocent people in a cold-blooded murder. So the thing is that how can they justify, or how can they, the link these two things, that hiding their own embarrassment by killing innocent people?
Well, I think their entire aim is to create panic, anxiety, unrest, in the society, and for that matter, they pick the target which is the most innocent and unarmed civilian. These are unarmed civilians. They were traveling with their families. So the real purpose is to instill fear. The real purpose is to pick those people who cannot they don't, they're unarmed, so that to give a message that you are not safe. So as you are mentioning, that this embarrassment which the Indian military and the Indian political class are just not in the military domain, but also at the diplomatic front. So how to divert the attention? The real thing is, in India, there's a lot of pressure on Prime Minister Modi, and that pressure is coming from the opposition. That pressure is coming from international media, where every day there are reports of damages. Every day, with the Indian officials have to come up something. They have something new story. So the real thing is shift the debate. So the moment there are people who are targeted in Pakistan by these Baloch militant organizations, at the same time you will see that the Indian media is highlighting and doing a media coverage of all those events. So to give a message, look, there is not all good in the region. So they want to tell to the region as well that, look, India is the only country which is stable. Look what is going on in Bangladesh. There is no government. In Pakistan, there is a unrest in where the non-state actors are targeting these innocent civilians. So they want to project themselves as a place where only investors can come. And obviously, I think this is a message for every investor which is coming in Balochistan. And remember, it is not just the Chinese. There are Australians, there are Canadians, and they need to take stock of the situation, that why Balochistan is being kept this way, why India believes that this proxy war which it has started, what is the meaning of that? And the meaning is definitely to give a message to all this business community that they should leave this region. But remember, with the political stability in the country, with the global financial institutions showing confidence in the economic performance of Pakistani government, I think they are doing, that's where the world understands that we need to stay here and we need to take advantage of the entire economic potential of this country. So even if India keeps on doing this a proxy war, keep on giving money to these non-state actors, and keep on providing military equipment to all these non-state actors, which are terrorists, definitely, as per every global definition. I think here there comes the Pakistani government. They needs to raise voice, and everywhere. For example, if Isaac Darsa was in Malaysia, remember, if whatever forum is there, Pakistan needs to expose this Indian proxies in Pakistan. Enough is, those time have
We'll
gone.
come to that. Cheema sir, will come to that. What should be our strategy in future, and what exactly we are doing at the moment by exposing India at every important international forum. Brigadier Nadir Mir sir, can you hear me, sir?
You loud and clear.
All right, sir. Thank you. The thing is, Cheema Saab just stated that one of the primary purposes of such cheap tactics or cowardly acts is to instill fear within Pakistan, or to make investors go away somewhere else rather than investing in Balochistan, because there is a high interest not only by the Chinese but other important countries in the world in Balochistan. But the thing is, from a soldier's point of view, can you tell us that how difficult it is to fight a war against the Proxies, because they carry out such cowardly acts and they go to their whatever caves they live in or they hide in, and by having the support of the country like India. So how difficult it becomes for the security forces or even the civilian armed forces to deal with such Proxies, and I would call them the cold-blooded murderers and the cowards.
You can call them anything you like, but I think we need to understand the bigger picture first. Overall, India is waging a multi-front war against Pakistan. That's what I've been saying for some time. And in Pakistan, it's taken at a rather lower level of terrorism and miscreants and destabilization. It is more than that. India has a geopolitical agenda. It considers itself a great power in the making. Of course, it got a rude shock in the 4-day war in which Pakistan won and India has been humiliated. That's clear to the world and everybody. But it has not accepted that. We say that in Pakistan. See the Indian TV. Have they accepted it? Or see the Indian mindset. Have they got ready to talk with you? They're not ready to talk to you because they still think they can go ahead with their old, oversized geopolitical agenda, which includes the balkanization of Pakistan or the breakup of Pakistan, or at least the destabilizing Baluchistan so acutely that when India goes to war with Pakistan, Pakistan has many fronts. So it's a multi-front war in which what you've talked of is the Baluchistan and KPK front, which is on the western border or the western front of Pakistan. And then, of course, in the north, they also have a front, which is firstly the water front, now you can call it, or water terrorism, you can call it the Indus Water Treaty held in abeyance. So that is another front they've opened, and in case of war, they'd like to attack Azad Kashmir and Jammu and Gilgit-Baltistan, which they call POK. They call it, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. By the way, they also call Baluchistan occupied Baluchistan, just for clarity, so that we are clear what they are talking, what India is talking. And secondly, whenever they find that Pakistan is weak enough or they are strong enough, they will go to war again with you, and they're preparing for them. Just see the weaponry that they are buying and how much money they are devoting to this. It's for the purpose. It's the purpose of fighting Pakistan. They're not going to fight China. There is no fight anyone else for that matter. So this is and of course the Arabian Sea is part of that. I mean the eastern border and all. So they are basically preparing to weaken Pakistan, which through Baluchistan firstly and KPK before they strike. Because as you've seen in 4-day war, what happened was, you see the militant terrorist insurgencies take time for them to build up. But the war was very short, the conventional war. It was 4 days. Maybe it is 7 days or 14 days next time. So basically they're building up this western side, inflaming the western side of Pakistan. So when they strike or we go to war on the eastern side, we are facing a multi-front war. That is the basic military strategy that they are trying to. I'm not saying they will succeed. Of course, we will foil their attempts like we did last time, but this is what they're trying.
Once we understand and grasp the strategy or whatever strategy they are trying to follow to weaken Pakistan, so the question comes in the mind that what exactly are our preparedness? I mean, we know that India is attacking us from multiple fronts, and then they are using our western border for their own interest and using the proxies to destabilize Pakistan and especially creating chaos in Baluchistan. So how we are going to respond in that manner? It's not a conventional war. It's not a country to country war. I mean, the enemy is hidden and having the full backing of the Indian intelligence agencies.
This, call it asymmetrical war, hybrid war. There are many names you can give it: terrorist war, whatever name you want, or anti-terrorist war. We can name it in many ways. But to simplify it, first of all, this war has to be waged globally. It is not only a local war that is on Pakistan's western border. And for that matter, I said yesterday also, they are coming from across the border. I mean, at least some of them may be hiding this side, but the logistics, their abettors, their supporters, Indians and others, they are located in Afghanistan, they are located in Iran. Char was used, an Indian spy was caught from there some time back also. So it's our western border, which includes a number of places within Pakistan and across the border. So this is first. And secondly, it involves a lot of other countries. So Pakistan has to go global on this as far as the diplomatic campaign is concerned, as far as the media campaign is concerned, as far as going to various forums from Security Council to BRICS to SCO to all the other forums, even ASEAN, and defaming the Indians, exposing the Indians for the terrorist war that they are doing. This process has started, but it has to be taken at a global level. And you need people who can do that, who understand geopolitics firstly. Secondly, you have to ruthlessly eliminate all terrorist waging elements which are proxy Indian forces in Baluchistan, KPK, but we are talking Baluchistan specifically now because what is happening there. So previously what was being done is, it was a little different. You have to wage a war there, and which has to be no holds barred war in which you have to eliminate all of them. And that is the prerequisite. Without that, unless you wage a war in Baluchistan and KPK.
Could you just explain what do you mean by war? You mean a full-fledged military operation in Baluchistan?
More than that. You have to go across the border also. If some of them flee across the border, what are you going to do? I'm going to say Pakistani blood is being shed. We have to take a leaf from what the Israelis do, and the way they stuck at what their enemies, the Israeli enemies, were.
In the past, we carried out successful surgical strikes against inside Afghanistan against the terrorist safe havens over there.
That's what I'm saying. We have done that. So this war cannot be waged that you wage it in Pakistan and they go across, they go 100 meters or a kilometer across and they get safe. So you have to make sure you have to ensure that this element is eliminated, whether it is on our side of the border or there on the other, and you have to talk.
Point taken, Brigadier Saab. Well, exactly. We have to take the war to the enemies. Exactly what you call it. Cheema Saab, the question is, you were talking about the diplomatic efforts or offensive against India. I mean, time and again, we exposed India at the international forum, before the important world leaders. And not only India is trying to, carry out its nefarious design inside Pakistan, but also in the United States of America and Canada. I mean, there are irrefutable evidence available against India. But every time after India got exposed, it got away with just a little, slap on the wrist. I mean, for how long this argument that India is a big financial power would hold? I mean, at some point in time, the important world capitals would come to understanding that enough is enough, that India is a rogue state, it's a rogue nation, it's a state-sponsored, state, which is always carrying out, extrajudicial killing, eliminating its enemy out of nowhere, and, not respecting any international law or convention. I mean, there has to be a limit to the patience of, all these important international institutions or the world capitals, or no?
This question is for me, Raza.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the point here is that I think what we need is we need a continuity. I think what we need is that we need to have a whole of a nation approach, and what we need is that when we go global, we need to raise this voice. So we must make it clear, very clear, that India is the only country in the region which has a capability, resources, and intention to keep Pakistan in this situation of turmoil for its own reasons, because India wants that there should be no one which can compete with it. Although Pakistan is not asking that we want to compete with India, we want to live honorably in this region, and we are not a country from sub-Saharan Africa which could be dictated by anyone. I think all the basic rules, norms, values which have been enshrined in the UN Charter, they give right to every nation in the world to live honorably. So India's this desire to be the policeman and to have this model that they want to dictate everyone, even in Bangladesh or Maldives or Sri Lanka and Bhutan. I think this has not worked here in Pakistan. So they believe that this is the right way where we can keep Pakistan destabilized. And for this matter, what I say is that we need to engage the global audience. For example, if you remember, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and the Prime Minister sent the mission to global capitals to tell basically what happened in the war between India and Pakistan. I think we should keep sending such kind of emissaries, and the government, which is normally busy into day-to-day affairs of running the state institutions, government is busy in that. I think there should be special officials, those whose jobs should not be maybe administrative, and the job should be to keep sensitizing the global capitals that what's going on in South Asia. And remember, if you go back 20 years, 15 years, this region used to be called, or particularly the Kashmir used to be called as a nuclear flashpoint, but now nobody calls this is a nuclear flashpoint, although India has attacked twice in 2019 and 2025. Although the President Trump does accept that we averted a nuclear war, but does this translate this idea of President Trump, or this a fear of Donald Trump, translates into the American administration or to the American think tank community? Or has it raised the real global public opinion in this issue that, yes, Pakistan and India were close to the nuclear war? I think this is something very serious business. And for this, we need to keep grabbing the global attention. And we need to keep raising voice. And for this, special representatives of the government of Pakistan, they need to be always making their case globally, and I think that will definitely sensitize, and that will definitely raise the concerns. We are the one who lost more than 90,000 lives in this war against terrorism. It is Pakistan to whom General Kurela calls as a phenomenal partner. Nobody has ever asked India that they have been partner of the world in fighting terrorism. So must not be punished, and we cannot be punished, and we would not let ourselves to be punished by India by using proxies, using terrorism, subcritical warfare, to disturb the peace and to disturb the economic
Cheema Sahib, you said you just stated that continuity is very much important, and we need to keep on telling the world about whatever India is doing inside Pakistan or anywhere in the world, to be specific. The question is, this argument that India is a big financial power, it's a big market, and that's why the global north is not taking the right or correct steps against India, or even giving the kind of responses giving against Kremlin for invasion of Ukraine. So the double standard of the global north is there, and at the same time this argument is also holding at the moment that India is a big financial power. But how long? But
you
for
know being a financial power does not authorize you to use terrorism as a tool against your
this is the question, sir. This is my question. There is no justification of going for the state-sponsored killing, or using proxies against Pakistan just because you are a little bit of bigger than Pakistan financially. The question is, for how long the global north would continue to tolerate such attitude or the strategy so-called of India. Dr. Cheema Sahib, I was asking you the question.
Okay, this is for me. Actually, your voice gets broken, so I couldn't understand initially. You were asking me this question. I think what you are saying basically, nobody has a right that okay, it's a big market, it's a country of 1.4 billion people, and it can use terrorism as a tool to destabilize the neighboring country. Nobody has a right for this. Who gave India this right to use to fund the proxies? Who gave India right to use non-state actors like BLA and TTP to keep Pakistan off balance? I think the world has realized this much, and we are the partners of the West in fighting war against terrorism. We brought peace in the region, and now the world must stand with us when we need peace in Pakistan, within Pakistan. The peace within Pakistan is being disturbed because India has its own ulterior motives, and for that matter, I think Pakistan has to some extent sensitized the global audience that why India has this mindset that yes, we must not start the conventional war because with that India's economic profile gets down, or for that matter, Indian military which is not ready to fight with Pakistan. So the best way is to use cheap tactics, to use cheap resources, to you should use minimum resources to have maximum instability in Pakistan, and they can only do it by using non-state actors. So I think India does not have right for this, and the world international community must call spade a spade. And even if what we have seen in Gaza, where the world is considering and world is calling that Prime Minister Netanyahu used genocide as a tool, in the same fashion, the international community must accept that Indian government, and particularly when the Canada says India is using transnational repression as a tool, when the Qatari
All
government.
right. Exactly, exactly. Rightly pointed out, Dr. Kamar Cheema. Thank you so much for your time. Brigadier Nadir Mir Sahib, you were talking about taking decisive action against Fitnatul Hindustan or any other terror outfit, or even if we take this war to Afghanistan. But my question is, if you minus Afghanistan equation from this war on terror, how easy the task of the security forces would be to crush any remnant of the terrorists inside Pakistan, specifically in Balochistan.
The Pakistani state, its armed forces and security forces can crush and eliminate all terrorist or all proxy forces of India, whether in Balochistan or KPK or anywhere or any part of Pakistan. This first. They have the capability. The nation is ready for that, and nobody wants terrorism in Pakistan. It's as simple as that. What Pakistan needs to do, in addition to this, that is crushing the terrorists, is to reimpose asymmetrical deterrence. Let me explain this for a minute. Pakistan, as you can see right now, has conventional deterrence that India went for this four-day Sindoor operation and all that, and it is not. It says it is ongoing, but it is not attacking Pakistan conventionally because it is not confident enough. If it was or when it is, it will attack Pakistan. And in the nuclear realm, the bedrock of nuclear deterrence is based on retribution. That if a nuclear country is attacked or its nuclear sites are attacked, nuclear arsenal is attacked, it will strike back. And that is why so far no nuclear attack is taking place here or elsewhere. So what I'm trying to explain, while Pakistan today, right now at this moment, enjoys conventional military deterrence and nuclear deterrence, it is not enjoying asymmetrical or this terrorist deterrence for the simple reason that Pakistan is doing nothing on the other side. So unless you do something, this is going to continue. You might kill a lot of terrorists or their proxies and they will send more. So what you have to do is that you have to make sure that...
Let me rephrase my question, Brigadier Saab. If we have a favorable government in Kabul, or there is a stable government in Kabul which is committed to fulfilling all the promises it made in Doha Accord, that it would not let any non-state actor use its soil against any country including Pakistan. So how beneficial or easy the task of the security forces would be against these terrorists, although we are fighting this war at the present state successfully, no doubt about it. But again, if we have a stable government in Kabul which is fulfilling or honoring its commitment, so how frustrating would that be for the country like India and good for the country like Pakistan?
It is not a stable government in Kabul or Tehran. It is a government friendly to Pakistan's geopolitical interest and not friendly to India. That is what is important. That's what I'm trying to explain. So one is that the terrorists and their proxy forces or India's forces, Indian-sponsored forces, should have no succor, no respite within Afghan territory or Iranian territory. Chabar is located in Iran. It's next to Gwadar, by the way. And Indians have been operating from that against Pakistan, and similarly from Afghanistan. So those two countries have to do something about it also. This is first. So if those two countries are supportive of you, then the task would obviously logically become much simpler for Pakistan. There is no discussion on it. But what I am trying to explain is that the real answer to this is going to be when India is itself embroiled in its eastern and southern portions, then it is going to have its hands full and not be too involved in your country. This is deterrence. You have no deterrence across. That is why if they're not doing it in one way, tomorrow they will do it on some other way. I mean, there is no end to it because you are not retaliating. Even in this four-day war, you struck back. And if, God forbid, India was to launch any massive strike, you will strike back.
Is there, I mean, you just said there is no end to it, and I'm looking for the answer that is there any end to it? AVM Ijaz Malik Saab is also with us. Thank you so much, AVM Ijaz Malik Saab, for your time. Is there any end to it, as you know, the question raised by Brigadier Nadir Mir Saab? And let me add one more thing to it, that why Balochistan is once again a hotspot of you know, Indian proxies activities and acts of terror. I mean, earlier they tried to hijack Jafar Express, killing so many people, and now this terrible incident in Job. And this is not the first time it happened. I mean, such incidents occurred time and again in the past. So why they are you know, increasing their activities inside Balochistan? Just to weaken Pakistan, just to embarrass Pakistan, or they have another or some other grand conspiracy or design in the offing? AVM Saab.
Thank you very much. There are, you know, more than one answers to your question. First of all, Balochistan, its terrain, both the geographic terrain as well as the human terrain, it provides an ideal opportunity for, you know, waging a proxy war through cross-border terrorism for India, because there is a wide geographic stretch which is difficult to govern under the prevalent, you know, environment, that political environment that we have. So it provides Indian sponsored terrorists an opportunity to hit and run against soft targets at will, and also engage the military or law enforcement or security forces as the target. Secondly, they are coercing people, they are looting banks, and they are generating money for themselves. So it adds fuel to their vehicles. It adds fuels to their strength. Then it is why it has been augmented. Why do we see this surge? The answer is that that is a logical choice for India after having been defeated in direct confrontation, in direct kinetic application that we have seen in May, that very crisp and intense war that we had. So, this is the logical choice for them to continue bleed Pakistan. Thirdly, environment of Balochistan, uh, over there, it's not only India's interest to keep Pakistan, unstable or create our fault lines and feed our fault line to an extent that it appears to be uh, uh, an insurgency or a movement for separation from the federal setup. Over there, in my considered opinion, there is a convergence of interest of so many other countries, including some neighboring countries, as well as those powers who do not want Chinese Road and Belt Initiative, which is passing through Pakistan as CPEC to progress. So all these reasons they make it a complex scenario, and India is financing, India is aiding, India is supporting and sponsoring this cross-border terrorism.
No, but we at the moment it seems from your answer that we have become a chessboard of all those regional and global players who are not. I mean, some of them are not directly against us, but they don't want China to flourish or this Belt and Road Initiative to be a success. But the point is, so for how long the country like Pakistan can survive such a a grand conspiracy against China, and in which we are caught in a crossfire, and on the other hand India is taking a direct advantage of the situation and trying to destabilize us. We have to take a decisive steps. Some of the suggestions just made by Brigadier Nadir Mir that we have to take this war to the logical and crush them by any means possible. So is it possible for us at the moment? At the same time, we are also launching diplomatic offensive against India, trying to expose it or trying to build a narrative that state-sponsored terrorism by India against Pakistan will not work in the longer run.
Yes, the international environment, which were previously in favor of India, post this recent war, now we have a diplomatic window wherein we can plead and project our rightful narrative, which is based on facts. If India can build her narrative out of nothing, fabricated narrative of cross-border terrorism against Pakistan, and so-called militants infiltration from Pakistani Madaris to India, and make it as a pretext post Pahalgam to wage war against us. We have a strong case based on facts and figures. We have to sensitize international power centers, capitals through a proper campaign, which was just, one part of that was very successfully done by the Prime Minister and Chief of Army Staff during their visits to USA and some other countries. We must continue with that at various levels through diplomatic offensive. But that alone sufficiently, that may not work in an isolation. We have to develop our capacity to fight it kinetically. We
Of course,
have to be.
we have to develop our capacity to fight it kinetically. AVM Saab, do stay with us. Brigadier Nadir Mir Saab, the question is, although the armed forces, they have rendered so many sacrifices and still they are fighting valiantly this war against terror, and they are the first line of defense against Fitna Hindustan or any other state terror outfit. But unfortunately, there are some voices among us which still are trying to malign the armed forces and following or buying the false narrative being built by India against us. So is there any space for such voices or any other such groups or individual which have their own axe to grind, trying to malign the armed forces or the security forces of Pakistan without considering that their action would be really harmful against the country or the state of Pakistan. So how to deal with such elements? Of course, they are not, some of them are not terrorists, of course, but they are directly or indirectly helping those forces which are there to weaken Pakistan.
Your question is brilliant because I'm a geopolitician also, besides being a defense analyst and military historian. The evolution of war, or where war stands today, and I'm writing on it also, I keep writing, is that it is not only the conventional war, or it's not only the military kinetic forces of the enemy. Then there is this terrorist forces that you've talked about, and then there are anarchist forces, you can call them, anarchist political dissidents. Everybody has a role to play. So it's already being said that the Indians are not only employing the terrorist forces from the western border of Pakistan, they are also trying to subvert Pakistan through political dissidents, and that they may not even, it is done through intelligence operations and through back channels and through middlemen, intelligence operatives forces operating in the middle. They may not be political forces, some operating here, like you're saying, may not even be knowing that they are following the Indian agenda or being influenced by it indirectly. So, as far as this whole situation is concerned, we have to consider it, as I started with, as a war. You recall, as the 4-day war, the whole nation was united. There was no question of politics or dissidents or anarchists or even terrorists. So if you work on a national emergency declaring war, not I'm saying declare war against India, declaring war to defend Pakistan, whether it is attacks of these proxy forces, whether it is somebody trying to do anarchy, whether it's someone trying to do anything else, or like you have said, whether some voices on the social media. By the way, it is my saying, social media is an instrument of war. This is a saying of Brigadier Nadir Mir, just for your information. So you have to see all of this as a package. Modern war is not what it used to be. You put in modern technology like the Air Force, brilliant Air Force through the multi-domain showed that even the air war has progressed tremendously. The whole world witnessed this new revolution in air warfare, which Pakistan Air Force displayed to the world. Similarly, the concept of war is evolving all the time. So what I'm saying is that across the board, you have to make sure when you go for it's not just a military or kinetic operation in Balochistan or across the border. You have to go for this, that Pakistan is facing this war, which is a war of national survival. And in this, no other talk.
Very rightly pointed out, Brigadier sir, very rightly pointed out that the war of survival, in fact. And last question to AVM Saab, that here comes the role of the politicians, the members of the civil society, that how they would make the nation prepared for fighting such a long or tedious war. And another question to this, how important it is to take every act of terror wherever in Pakistan to its logical conclusion and bring whoever is involved to justice, because normally it was observed in the past that terrorists who were involved in such activities, either they are killed or eliminated, or either they fled to to Afghanistan. But how important is to bring that each and every incident to its logical end, and to tell the nation that the security forces and law enforcement agencies are vigilant, and they would not let anyone go scot-free in case they try to harm Pakistan or the people of Pakistan.
Yes, we have an example in the past wherein after APS incidents, we were politically united. The whole of the nation approach was developed with a consensus at the floor of parliament and outside the parliament. And then we launched Operation Zarbias against these Fitnatul Kharij, and we had a marvelous success. We have to duplicate and customize the same model wherein the whole of the nation approach, and we have to provide a complete political ownership at federation as well as at the provincial level. Remember, at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the provincial government. The law and order is the responsibility of the provincial government as a devolved subject. So they have to develop their capacity, they have to show their resolve, and law enforcement from FC as well as the Pakistan Armed Forces should work in unison with them as a backup. If we put the armed forces in front and do not build capacity of civil intelligence and law enforcement officers who are, like police, for example, who are essentially responsible for maintaining law and order. And this terrorism,
This is the area where we have to really work well, especially in Balochistan.
yes, that's the problem. In previously there was an attempt to declare certain areas under police management, but then A and B class of areas, and then that was reverted back to the previous arrangement under Sardari Nizam, that we had that same arrangement of levies. Levies is just I would say is a smoke screen. It gives a false sense of security. They do not have capacity, and there is a lot of funding which goes waste in this arrangement. If the same is
Right.
pumped in,
Here comes
channelized.
the role of our representative and a representative of the people of Balochistan, and they really can take the lead, and important decision like these are they have to be unanimous in nature. Every major political party in the province and at the federal level must support such decisions, and of course the armed forces and the security establishment, they are also on board and on the same page, as time and again being told at our leaders in the federal capital, in the province. They keep on telling us that this is the kind of unity which we need and we have. So if we have this type of unity, we can take such a difficult decision and of course build the capacity of the provinces, especially in Balochistan, so that such horrible events like what happened in Job a couple of days back would not happen again, and all the proxies of India or any other enemy state would be dealt with accordingly and in a befitting manner. Thank you very much, AVM Saab, for your time. Thank you very much, Brigadier Nadir Mir Saab, for you as well, and thank you very much, viewers, for watching the program. Good night and Khuda Hafiz.